Today we're going to talk about not being a pawn, about owning your game in sales. This goes to owning your game in life, in sales, in anything you do. The most important principle of your business success or even your personal success is you become what you think about most of the time. You know, basically, if you're constantly thinking about failure, well, you might run into some of it. You might run into more than you want to. If you're thinking about success all the time, well, you're most likely going to reach those goals that you have written down, and whatever you do to set your goals, wherever you write them down, if you're thinking about success on them, well, you're probably taking actions to get towards that success. It's not what happens to you or what happens in business, but how you think about what happens. That determines how you feel about it and how you react, because it's not what's outside that dictates our circumstances or our conditions. It's the world that's right in here, inside of our head, that creates the conditions of our lives. The point in this is life is about choices. You're always free to choose. No one forces you to think, feel, or behave in any way. It's each person's individual choice to choose emotions and behaviors by the way we choose to think about what's going on around us. And this is very important for the success of sales. Because if you're a perpetual optimist, which is kind of what I am, you know, I'm always looking at things from a point of optimism. Okay, that's how we develop success. Everything is controlled by us. And yeah, we're going to have bad days. Our thoughts, our feelings continually change. And sometimes they're quickly affected by the events around us. You know, when you get some good news, you're happy. Man, you get excited. Your attitude brightens up, and you feel positive toward everyone and everything. But on the other hand, a lot of us, if we unexpectedly receive some bad news, sometimes we become upset, angry, short-tempered, even if that news isn't even true or if it's not accurate. So one of the points in this is interpretation of events, because this will determine how you react. Example, if we're on the phone selling a service and we do not get the correct result, and this is going to happen in 90 out of 100 calls. That's just the laws of averages in this. You know, if you make 100 cold calls, 10 people are going to talk to you, on average. So a lot of this has to do with our reactions and being absolutely honest with ourselves. If we're honest with ourselves, we know that, hey, the next call I make may talk to me and may want to place some business. It may not be today. It may be tomorrow. It may be next week. Might be next month. But if you think about how your thoughts in every situation are causing reactions in your life. And I'm talking about every situation in life. Your family, your health, your financial situation, your work. And obviously I'm saying this stuff because I want you to succeed for us. And to do that most effectively, you want to take a look at everything that makes you who you are, because essentially you're selling yourself. I heard a quote one time that said, "Whatever you truly believe with feeling becomes your reality." And what I think that means is, as humans, we tend to act in a manner that is consistent with what we believe, especially with what we believe about ourselves. Okay, our beliefs, they act like a set of filters that screen out information that we don't want or not consistent with what we believe. We don't always believe what we see either, but rather we see what we already believe, which can cause us to to reject information that contradicts what we've already decided to believe. In other words, if you're getting geared up to start your day in sales and you say, "Man, I got my rear end handed to me yesterday. There is no way that anyone is going to buy from me." Well, guess what happens? Nobody buys from you. And this is something that comes from prejudging. Matter of fact, the word prejudice means to prejudge, to reach a conclusion in advance of any information or even in spite of information. One of the best success strategies is to refrain from judging situations or judging people or judging anything in life until you have enough information to make a real informed decision. And what's most important in prejudices and prejudging is not to prejudge yourself and not to prejudge your possibilities. When we prejudge our possibilities, we turn these into self-limiting beliefs. And this is what happens when we believe ourselves to be limited in some way. If you find yourself often saying, "I can't do this for this reason," chances are, whatever that goal is, you will not be able to reach it. However, looking at it as a perpetual optimist, like I like to believe I am, goals can be achieved. Now, I'm not saying that with positive thinking and optimism, I can get out there today and run a marathon or a race against people who have been training for this and win. But what I am saying is that with optimism and positive thinking, I can motivate myself to train for that marathon, to train for that race, and stand a much better chance of winning it than I would if I just said, oh my God, man, I'm overweight, I can't run against these guys, or I'm out of shape. And actually I get on a treadmill every morning. I can actually get out there and run. You may not think that by looking at me, but I get them out of exercise, believe it or not. If I didn't, I would be huge because I like to eat. I live in New Orleans. So back to self-limiting beliefs. Self-limiting beliefs can act like a brake on your potential, like brakes on a car. They can hold you back, and they can generate the enemies of personal success, which are doubt and fear. These things can paralyze you. They can cause you to hesitate, to procrastinate, and cause you not to take the intelligent risks that are necessary for you to fulfill your full potential. Okay, if we want to see true progress, if we want to move onward and upward in our sales career and in our life, we have to continually challenge any self-limiting beliefs. We have to reject any thought. We have to reject any suggestion that we as individuals are limited in any way. And if we accept this as a basic principle that we're a no-limit person, we can begin to achieve greater things. So obviously, free your mind. Get rid of doubt. Get rid of fear. Imagine that there were no limitations. Think about what do I want? What do I dream about? What would be my biggest one if I knew that I could not fail at it? If I had all the time, all the money, all the skills, all the contacts, all the talent that I could ever want, what would I decide to do? That's something to think about. Because the things that we want in life are reachable, of course, within reason. This is a very productive way to challenge any self-limiting beliefs. And the truth in this is most people are blind in this area. They go by what other people think. They go by what other people say they know. And this is something you can ask someone you know. Do you see any beliefs in me that you think might be causing me to perform below my potential? Ask somebody that, and most of the time, people won't even be honest. They'll say, oh man, you're a beast. You know, your potential is incredible. They won't actually look at it and say, well, here's my thought on what I've analyzed about things that may be causing you to perform below your potential. They won't point anything out. A lot of people won't. So Whatever you expect, and whatever you expect with confidence, can become your reality. It can become your own prophecy. What I'd like to see with us as a company are everyone expecting the best. Of course, as a business owner, I assume the very best of intentions on the part of the people that work for us, both on the sales side, the collection side, even administrative staff. I always assume that from the start that everyone wants to do a good job. Everyone wants to make good decisions and get good results. When things go wrong, which they will, things will absolutely go wrong, and they will continually. That's something that's it's part of life. Instead of overreacting, look at what really caused whatever happened to go wrong. There is always a solution somewhere in there. One of the things that I force myself to do, and I'm not always the best person at this because I'm a person that has to constantly focus on emotions in business. When things go wrong, I make it a point to step back and sit down with the person that something went wrong with in a friendly way and ask questions to determine what happened. And there's usually a good reason for everything. And some of these behaviors, well, most of these behaviors will help you improve not only your sales cycle, but how you handle life. Let's think about high expectations people. People that expect everything from everyone, and they expect everything from everything they do. These people that have high expectations make the very best salespeople, they make the very best entrepreneurs, and the very best managers in business. Because their expectations are high, their goals are high. When we expect the best of ourselves, it helps us to imagine that we have unlimited potential and that we can accomplish anything that we put our minds to. That our future is only limited by our own imagination. And let's face it, everything in life that each one of us has accomplished up to right now is only a small part of what we are truly capable of achieving. No matter what our achievements, it's a small part. We can always achieve more. Our greatest moments, they're ahead of us. They haven't happened already, and I'm going to tell you, I have had some great moments in life. I've had great achievements. But I truly believe my greatest moments in life have not happened yet. This is something that drives me every day. It's what gets me up in the morning. And this thought is merely a small preparation for the great things that are yet to come. So again, thoughts, they're extremely powerful. They're like a form of mental energy that just, it cruises, and they're fast, powerful, and can go through any barrier. So for example, sometimes you're thinking about somebody, and that person calls you. Has anybody ever had this happen?
Definitely.
That when that happens, and this is what I believe, and I don't need anybody to subscribe to all of my beliefs. I just want you to take from this what you need, what you can use, and leave the rest behind. But I believe that when I'm thinking about somebody and they call me, that our thoughts connected together. The moment I thought of that person, that thought was so powerful that they thought about me too and reached out and called me. Now, as a company, we have our services we've developed, we have our processes, and we have a way of doing business that attracts customers, that attracts sales professionals, that attracts collectors, that attracts financiers. Obviously, there's always people trying to sell us some type of loan, but we're a debt-free company, and, well, we like it that way. I believe that these circumstances are in harmony with the dominant thinking that's behind our organization. Okay, I believe that every human ingredient inside and outside of our organization is an instrument of some kind. Like, and some of you know I play music, so of course I'm going to use a musical instrument for this example. But they make up a symphony when they're all in sync and working together. Beautiful music is created, and that music is the activities of our business. One of the things that I encourage and actually challenge everyone to do is to go through a process of self-analysis, self-examination. Take a close look at the world around you, you know, whatever's going on in your life. See how it syncs up with the way you think. See if there's harmony. When you do this, you will find things that harmonize. And I would like for you to take full credit for all of the good things that are going on in your life. They're there because you have attracted them to yourself. Once you're done looking at all of the good things, and yeah, there's a negative part of this, sorry about that, but something we have to do. Look at everything you don't like and take responsibility for them as well, because they're there because of you. Now, I agree that there are some things in life that we cannot change. There are some things, I don't mean that everything that happened is your fault. Oh, I was driving to the store and some idiot rear-ended me. Obviously, that was uncontrollable. It's probably not your fault. But if you think of things that you don't like, that you had a true part in, you can figure out what the flaw is, and more importantly, you can figure out what you're going to do about it. Okay, what is it in me that caused this situation? Okay, with that said, you're in charge of your destiny. We can create what happens to us just by how we think. And by making changes in our thinking, we can always improve some aspect of our life. We can't fix everything with positive thinking. I would be a fool to believe that. But what we can do is make improvements and continue towards greater success. Okay? The outside world is it's a reflection of our inside world. And it directly corresponds with our thinking patterns, and more importantly, our dominant thinking patterns. And you know, before I get too much into philosophy or cause and effect, you know, let's realize that the main purpose of this is to improve whatever's not good in life. Let's improve it, and that is going to help us sell more. That's the purpose of this. That's why I'm here saying, hey, well, think the right way, the right things will happen. It's because I want you to sell. I want you to be happy. I want you to make money. And these are extraordinary principles. These principles actually explain most of the happiness, unhappiness in the most success, the most failure, the greatness, whatever is happening in life. If any of you guys have ever read anything about philosophy, Aristotle, and his thoughts on cause and effect, you know, these are the exact principles that we're talking about here. You know, it's like laws. You know, Plato taught this dude well. And I understand this stuff, it's hard for most people to accept. Most people actually believe that all of the problems in their life are caused by external circumstances or other people. And some people even get mad if I tell them, look, man, you're in control of your destiny. You're in control of just about everything that happens to you. And what I have found is most want the world to change. Matter of fact, there's a musician that wrote a song about that. Can't think of his name, but he said he's waiting on the world to change. The world's not going to change. The world doesn't want to change. Does anybody have any thoughts, questions, remarks about my crazy ways of thinking as of yet?
Well, I don't know if my speaker's working, but I think in general, you're absolutely right. You know, there's been times in my life where I thought things that were a failure turned out to be some of the greatest things that happened, but my perception of them initially was all wrong. So I can easily see carrying a positive attitude and believing that I can accomplish these sales and break these barriers down on a one-call basis instead of some long drawn-out sales process that I might be more used to, can only happen if I believe I can do it. And I think using what you're saying will give me the ability to do that. I mean, I have created my own reality in many instances, and sometimes it's been painful only because the way I think about it, and sometimes it's been fantastic, and it's the same reason. So I'm with you. That's all.
And I wasn't always a positive thinker. Man, I grew up when I was young. I grew up in a bad neighborhood, in a single-parent household, and I thought the world was against me. And you know, as a child, you know, I turned to music as my escape. And one day, I just decided to begin building the consciousness that I needed. You know, what I needed on the inside of life to enjoy what I wanted on the outside. And in most cases, what you really want on the outside seems so far away. I mean, I'll never reach these goals. How many times have you heard that? I will never reach these goals. But goals are there for a reason. They're there to be reached. Okay? What I had to do matter of fact, when I started this company, I didn't leave an agency and take a book of business with me and start up that way. I started this business by myself from scratch. To do that, I had to visualize and imagine that my business plan and my career motive was perfect in every respect. I had to visualize that. And starting out, I went through my house and I sold a lot of my antiques, my music gear, and when I'm talking about selling music gear, I got rid of my favorite guitar. This is one point. A 1965 Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul. Not just a 65 Les Paul Custom. An actual 65 Custom Shop Les Paul. Okay? Now, I got a lot of money for that guitar. And I used it as capital to fund my business. And, you know, I had a lot of really expensive equipment because I played music professionally for a long time. And, you know, worked business during the day. I've done tour work and stuff. So I had bunches of PA equipment and a whole bunch of crap that was collecting dust. And I said, man, look, I've got all of this stuff. I want to start a company. I need to be able to start my company, get properly compliant, get properly licensed, get the insurances, bonds I need in order. And to do that, I'm going to sell all my stuff I'm not using, and I'm just going to do it. I'm going to get on the phone, and I'm going to drum up some clients that can bring in some fee to start keeping me going when I run out of money. You know, because, well, got to pay the bills, right? And when I did that, I just attacked it. I attacked it like there was no tomorrow. And, you know, four years later, we've got, actually it's almost 5 years later now, but we're a healthy, growing company. And it's that drive and that thinking that got us to where we are right now. Okay, and where we are right now is perfectly consistent with what I set out to achieve in my written business plan 5 years ago. I am on the mark. It's because I know what needs to be done, I do it, and obstacles, oh my God, they are everywhere. They do not stop, and they will not stop. And if I ever wake up one day and I say, I can't do it anymore, it's too much stress, I don't have a social life, oh my God, then that day we will fail. So, as a result, my thoughts are there's no limit on how much better we can think. I'm a positive thinker. I'm a perpetual optimist. And I constantly critique myself every day. Every day. What can I do to improve my thinking? What can I do to improve my business practices? What can I do to improve how I deal with people? Because realistically, I'm an arrogant SOB. I know that. I'm an a-hole, and I have very strong opinions. I'm well aware of that. But I try to keep up with that and be personable at the same time. And believe me, that that's a challenge all in itself. So, what is success? Can anybody tell me what they believe success is?
I'll take a stab and say if you've gotten up and given your best shot and truly tried to do the best that you can and trying to improve, then you've
Okay, Jason, you were breaking up there in the end, but I see what you get. I believe I see what you're getting at, and success is not. It's not necessarily determined by material things or accomplishments. Like Jason was saying, it's about going after it. It's about getting your goals or hitting your goals. Some say that success can be defined as being happy with what you've got. And I absolutely agree with that. You can Jason, I can't hear you, brother. Okay, I'll continue for the time being. But success can be enjoyed by reaching a point where we're perfectly content with our lives in every respect, which means no feeling of dissatisfaction or a pressing need for anything else. That's one of the things that can define success. In, in, in this sense, you can be a success just by sitting by yourself in a quiet place contemplating the world. Now, achievement is something a little different. Achievement is when we get what we want. Achievement requires setting goals. It requires objectives. It requires a plan of action. And it requires implementing that plan of action. For achievement, it is absolutely imperative that we overcome obstacles and overcome any difficulties in reaching whatever goals we have set for ourselves. Now, looking at success and looking at achievement, this is where you start for any accomplishment that you are pursuing. Okay? This is the exact accomplishment is for you to decide. What is it? What do I want? What do I want in business? What do I want in my personal life? Okay? In order to be motivated, we need motive. Motive is what do I want? And the clearer you are about your true motives, the more you will achieve, and the quicker you will achieve it. In my life, I focus on making everything I do something that's going to improve my life in some way. Now, everything I do isn't going to improve my life in some way. I know that. I know that for a fact. I know some of the things I do in life are going to have some negative reactions, but I know that every action is guided by some purpose. We were talking about Aristotle. Well, we weren't really talking about him, but I mentioned Aristotle. Something that Aristotle wrote is that all behavior is teleological, which simply means aimed at a goal, you know, something with purpose. And you know, I look at that stuff, you know, about, and I'm going back to cause and effect here because it's something that it makes things happen, you know. Whatever the cause is, there's going to be an effect. I mean, it makes sense. So whatever your actions or your desire should be to be better off than you would have been if you had not taken whatever action. One of the things I notice about goals is I don't achieve all of my goals, okay, but I tend to achieve most of the goals that I set for myself. Now, the goals that I have not achieved, they were absolutely set for future achievement. Okay. Even if we look at small goals, if you set a goal to go home and watch TV, you're going to go home and watch TV. If your goal is to achieve financial success, you can achieve that as well. And you can achieve it the same way you can achieve the goal to watch television, by taking action. Okay, I believe that our minds are a goal-seeking mechanism, and that when we program a target for our goal-seeking mechanism, our subconscious can take on that goal with its own power, okay, to drive us towards the attainment of whatever the goal is. And I'm not talking about just thinking about goals. I'm talking about actually getting your goals notebook and writing them down. I've got sticky notes on mine. Geez. New additions, man. I am always writing down ideas. I've probably got 10 pens all around on my desk because I want to have one wherever I reach to write something down, something I have to do, something I need to achieve. And you know, this is something, it doesn't happen automatically. But on the other hand, if you make it a habit, it can begin to happen almost automatically. Okay, as you write goals down and as you take actions towards achieving them, that goal seeker in our mind, it starts to work naturally. Just like we don't have to think about breathing. The main thing in that is setting the goals in the first place. That's it. Making it a habit, setting the goals, learning to practice the skills of goal setting, and wanting to achieve a higher level. And once this is put into practice, you can begin achieving higher levels almost immediately. What happens when you begin a process and make this happen, and it's a habit, you start getting to your goals faster, and you learn to predict them. And that's incredible. And it's the key to being successful. So again, we want to be perfectly clear about what we want. And we want to be perfectly clear on what that will look like when we achieve it. You know, for example, if any of you guys, and I use this as an example because I know people, several people who have done this. would you start a business without a plan, without a business plan? I would hope not. You would figure out what you wanted to do. You would figure out your market demographics. You would figure out your competitive demographics. You'd write out a financial plan. And, well, a whole bunch of other things. I'm not going to talk about business plans in this because we're not talking about starting a business. We're talking about getting to the point of writing more business. But what I'm pointing out is you wouldn't do this without a clear list of goals you wish to attain, a clear list of milestones, and a written plan of action. Because without that, you'd get out there in the business world and you'd fall on your face. I mean, that's what happens to business owners that open a business without a plan. Excuse me. And the statistics on goals are staggering, man. Less than 3% of adults have written goals that are clear and have detailed plans to achieve them. Man, that's bad. That's really bad. So your 3% that are setting goals and they have clear, detailed plans. These are the guys that are really making money. These are the guys that are really happy in life. And making money doesn't make you happy in life. When I say happy in life, I mean these guys with these goals, they have a grasp on everything in life. They have a grasp on personal life. They have a grasp on family. They have a grasp on business, a grasp on health. And they have plans for all of this stuff and are putting them into action. Before I go on into making this another 2-hour hangout, let's open the floor for discussion. Somebody talk to me.
I don't hear anybody saying anything, but I'm afraid my microphone's not going to work.
Well, I can hear you right now, man. Don't let fear get the best of you. Talk into it. If it stops working, I'll tell you. So what are your thoughts, Jason?
Well, personally, what I need to do at this point is start to believe that I can get to the meat of the conversation when I have these AR managers or controllers on the phone. So I'm starting to take some personal notes on my creativity on how I can engage them to tell me what my potential placement value is, to tell me if, you know, some meat on the bones, as you say. So I'm trying to come up with some ways to just really go for the close and be fearless about it and try to have fun with it, knowing I'm going to fall on my face. So that is my goal. That's my plan. And I haven't put it into action today, but I wrote down some very, very good opening statements and some ways to engage these prospects that I'm letting off the phone too easy right now.
Awesome. And I think that plan is an excellent start. And you know, the easiest thing for us as humans is to develop habits. And this is something that is a little, well, no, it's on subject because it's about habits. Let's look at animals for a second. If you have a pet, a dog or a cat, it usually has a certain time of morning when it's ready to get up and eat. And that time is based on habit. Us as humans, we can actually, and this is how powerful the human mind is, we can actually program ourselves to wake up without an alarm clock. And I know this for a fact because I do it. I will be up at 6:30 every morning, whether I like it or not, whether I stay up till midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., I'm up at 6:30 in the morning because it's a habit. And the way I developed this habit, I started by setting an alarm earlier than I wanted to wake up. And instead of hitting snooze when that alarm went off, or, you know, grabbing the pillow or whatever, a significant other, and, you know, wanting to snuggle for a minute, oh, I don't want to get out of bed yet, I jump right out of bed. I get right out of bed, get moving. From that, I was able to develop a habit of action at a certain time in the morning, and I just started waking up without an alarm. And of course, I didn't set out to do that, but I did some research on it, and come to find out, I actually, by doing that, I actually programmed myself to wake up without an alarm. And man, that's strong. It's incredible. And it's attainable. What I'm making a point on here, though, is developing the habit will make it second nature. Developing the habit will make it automatic. And when you develop the habit of success, it becomes hard to fail. And let's not always look at failures as a bad thing, because some things we attempt in life, we will fail at. The most important thing about those failures is that we learn something from them, and we learn how to develop habits that cause us to fail less. Jason was talking about getting prospects to engage him more frequently. Well, once Jason develops a real habit of doing that, it's going to be hard for him to not get those prospects to engage him, because it's going to become a habit. And habits are a result of taking action. If we continuously take action on something, it becomes a habit. So, let's see. Kim, you around? Talk to me, Kim. Tell me something. All right. Well, let's see who's next on the list. Hank, what you got, brother?
I kind of took to heart what you said earlier about, you know, if you got to make 100 calls to talk to 10 people, you know, I'm just getting going, and you've made about 50 calls, and that's probably about right. I've maybe talked about 5 out of the 50. You just gotta dial, keep going and keep going, and you gotta have the conversations.
That's it. And that ratio is going to change for you as you develop your contacts. But that's what it's like in the beginning, man. This is starting out in this business is absolutely hateful. But the beautiful thing is, man, once you kick it off, once you get it going, it's awesome. It's going to take you a little while to get there. But this is an incredible business to be in. Okay, the commercial collection industry did $60 billion in the U.S. last year. $60 billion.
Yeah, I mean it's something that people. It's not a negative thing. I mean, people need the help, and it's not like you're trying to. I was in insurance sales, and people for some reason just don't like to talk about personal insurance, and they so it's just an approach that a product that if you get the people on the phone, it should be pretty easy to engage once I get the dialogue down, and the fact that the results that your company can produce, I mean, that's a huge selling point. I mean, that's just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the important things to look at about what we do for our clients, keep in mind that us collecting their money does not just help that client's company out. By putting the amounts of money we put back into commerce in this country, this creates jobs. It creates additional commerce, both directly and indirectly. So it's something that, well, obviously anything that does $60 billion a year is going to be important for the country's economy. But the main point here is that what we do allows companies to make advances in what they do. Okay, if debts are recovered that were written off as even if it's what within their acceptable loss, additional revenue opens up additional opportunities. Okay, if these opportunities are for additional labor for whatever it is that they do, if these are opportunities for additional research and development budgets so they can offer new products to existing customers. Sometimes these opportunities are in efficiency, getting updated equipment, things to provide their product more efficiently. These are all things that we play a role in making possible for the clients we represent. So when people out there look at collectors as bottom feeders, I laugh, man. That's a beautiful statement. I love it. Because the fact is, companies like ours do more for the U.S. economy than any other business, if you look at the big picture. And that's something you can do the research, and you will absolutely find things like that on the internet if you go looking for them. This isn't just a business owner's hype. This is the real McCoy. Trina, what's happening with you? All right. Well, I guess if nobody else is talking to me, I'm going to get back to work. Is there anything?
I had sent a chat message. I had background noise going on.
Oh, okay.
I would say that I do believe in setting goals for sales, and like I said in my chat message, it may not always work, but when it does work, we do say, I'm going to make 5 sales today, and you actually do get 5 sales instead of 0 sales, it'll feel great, or even 3 sales out of the 5 sales, which was your goal. That would feel great, and that'll give you motivation to keep on going and get those sales. So I do believe in law of attraction and setting goals and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. The law of attraction, man. That's some good stuff. One day I'm gonna have to put that on my list of things to have hangouts about, because that is absolutely something of relevance. And I didn't get to see your chat messages. Let's see. I need to pull them up. Okay, well, we were looking for Kim before. She was on the phone. That's where she was. All right, now I have the chat messages. All right. Does anybody have anything else? Because if not, we are going to close, and then we can get back to doing what it is we do. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That's my cue to sign off then. And I will talk to you guys soon. And let's make some money.
Have a nice day, everyone.
All right, you guys take it easy.